Not to be weird, but I've always wanted crow friends. Crows are very intelligent, and if you befriend them, they'll bring you gifts and stuff, and it would be cool to have crow friends. I never see them in my neighborhood, but if I do, I'm gonna try to make friends. I see stuff on the internet about it. I don't know if any of it's true, like leaving out certain foods and whatnot. But anyways, I'm getting distracted. So the book we're going to talk about today is Palaces of the Crow by Ray Naylor. And I had read two other books by Ray Naylor, both of which are absolutely fantastic. The Mountain and the Sea and The Tusks of Extinction. I've done standalone reviews for both of those. I'll link those down below if you want some more information on those. So I picked this book up partially because it is a story about a girl named Naraya who befriends these crows from the forest that live near her shtetl. And I'm not sure if I'm saying that word correctly. That's, I believe, in German. It means like a small village. This one might be my favorite one yet. It's eloquent and emotional and beautiful and sad and heartbreaking and like so many different things, and just the intensity of the situation in the wartime. It's in 1941, so you have Germany and Russia and Lithuania and like all these different facets of people from different warring things coming into the area where this girl Naraya lives in her shtetl. And one day she wakes up and her favorite crow, Buster, she named a lot of the different crows. He's making a ruckus and yelling at her to like follow him. He keeps looking at her and then hopping a little bit away. And so she's up before anyone else is up, and she follows him into the forest. And while he saves her life, because that's when the Nazis come in and they take all the people from her village and basically they murder them all. Well, maybe not all of them. She eventually meets up with this other boy who had deserted and ran away from the Red Army, who is Czesław. He is actually Polish, but he joined up for specific reasons. But at this point, like, their faction is down to, like, he has two people left with him, and then they come across this polytruck. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, if it's a kind of police person or whatever, but they kind of lost their mind, and the guy was gonna like shoot his friend, and so he shoots him instead. And then his friend gets all mad and pissed off, and he's like, hey dude, he's like, everything is jacked up, they're closing in from all sides, we gotta do something, this and the other. And then the guy who he had saved his life like turns his gun on him, and Czesław's like, F this, and he books it to the forest, and he keeps waiting to be like shot in the back, and it doesn't come, and it doesn't come, and he finally gets to the forest, and he's, you know, all he can think about is not dying in pieces. Like, he's like, at least I'll die whole. If I get shot in the back, at least I'll die whole, because all these other people in the war, you know, they just were, some were disintegrated into mist, some were just body parts afterward, it's just slaughtered. He turns around and he sees that his friend has been captured, and then they just shoot him dead, and he would have died. And so he goes into the forest, and he was originally had come from an area, his father and his grandfather were hunters and trappers, so he knows how to survive in the woods, and he has his rifle with him, and so he continues on, and eventually he finds Naraya. He saves her because she goes and she's trying to like scavenge in like one of the village, or I can't remember if she returned to the shtetl. I think that's probably what she did. And there's some men there, and he grabs her and he's like, you know, and then they end up staying together and surviving together. And eventually they come across these other people that they meet too. The other character, her name is Kazaya, and then there's also this boy who doesn't speak that Kazaya had found like just standing in the middle of a village where she was scavenging for food and trying to find a spot to, you know, stay and sleep, and just eating the honey from these beehives. And one of the things too, when Czesław was in the woods, you know, when he was first by himself, he had sat down and the crows were in the forest, and he had shared some of his bread with the crows. And another thing with Kazaya is that she had come across a crow that had been shot, and she actually dug a hole and buried it, and did a little burial for it. And so I think the crows saw this from them, because when they all meet up, the crows eventually kind of like become a warning system and warn these children and, you know, save them from possibility of death and these people coming after them. And they become kind of this like found family, and you get their stories of before and after. And so you have them just trying to survive, and the quiet moments of beauty, but also like the scariness and the survival and just the sadness of all of it, and just trying to find hope when everything is so bleak and dark. And like the way this is written is so beautiful. Like, it's so good. Holy crap. Yeah, every time I read Ray Naylor, like his writing is magnificent. It's eloquent, it's beautiful, it's heartfelt, it's sad, it is devastating. It's hopeful and horribly sad and depressing, but also, like, it's so good. Like, you close the book and you're like, it speaks to your heart and your mind and your soul. It takes you to places and really just enhances empathy and so many things. Like, I feel like it's very original the way he writes. Like, you come across a lot of authors, and a lot of them have, like, similar aspects and elements to them. And then some, the writing just speaks to your soul. And I feel like that's how Ray Naylor expresses his words and his emotions and his stories. And they're so tangible and just really good. I don't know how to explain that this book is a frickin' sparkling diamond. Honestly, my favorite I think I've read of his. The other ones are really fantastic. I mean, Tusks of Extinction is only a novella, but it's very moving and it's very sad and very heartfelt. And The Mountain and the Sea is absolutely beautiful and splendid and sad and just so many things. But this one's my absolute favorite. Maybe because I like crows more. The Mountain and the Sea was focused around like humans and octopus, and there was also like an android character as well. And then the Tusks of Extinction had like woolly mammoths were brought back, but there yet was still poachers and all these people just trying to destroy them, even though they've been brought back. And like the mammoths had consciousness and what happened, and very interesting and introspective that the way Naylor writes. If any of that sounds good to you, I would highly, highly recommend it. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.